Hey everyone, this is Sleakozzy here, and welcome back guys to another video. Today I have some pretty cool things to show you regarding a new LTM and some pretty cool map changes that could be coming to Fortnite Battle Royale. So if you guys are hyped for this video, please do show support by leaving a like on it, and if you're new here, then subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all the new amazing Fortnite content coming your way. And the things I'm going to be talking about today come from Fortnite Insider. I will leave the sources in the description down below so you guys can go down there and check out those for yourself. So the first thing we're going to talk about is a new limited time mode which has been created by someone on the Fortnite Insider article, and it's basically called Hurricane or Hurricane mode as an LTM. And the basic idea of it is pretty cool, and it makes it a more fast-paced game and makes it so that people can't camp. Like, this would eliminate camping altogether and make people think on their feet more, be more accurate with their shots, build more, and, you know, make them a better player. So basically what it is you have the Eye of the Storm, obviously, in Fortnite. You know, the storm comes in and it centers on a location, which is the circle. The circle gets smaller as the game progresses. Now, in this game mode, well, it seems like the person is trying to say there are no images, it's just all text, but from what the person is saying, it does seem like a really cool idea. So, the storm comes in, and it centers on a circle. As you know, the storm comes in, it goes into a circle where all the players are, and the circle gets smaller. What this idea is the circle where the storm is, like the Eye of the Storm, moves around the map. It's not central, it's not in one place. It continues to move around the map as the game progresses. This would eliminate camping. No one would make massive bases and camp in there with a sniper all game. You know, because that type of end game is boring. You know what happens when you get into the last 15 to 10 players? People build bases, they camp in bushes, camp in buildings, wait for people to come around corners. It's a really slow and mundane end sometimes. You know, other times you do get those people that it's just all out war, you're firing at one another, exploding people. You do get those games, but sometimes people just don't move and they just hide and they camp. So with this game mode, it completely eliminates that because the Eye of the Storm is moving around the map, which prevents people from building bases, from camping or anything, because they're going to have to move in with the storm and move in with other players as well. So you're going to have to get as many resources as you can at the start of the game in order to give yourself the best advantage in the later parts of the game. So some of the changes that this person would make would be double mats from floor loot and chests, and buff materials from harvesting, so you know you get double wood, double the material, and buff the launch pad spawn rate, so you know more launch pads, more maneuverability. You know, and he took time to do a little like a pros section about what this would achieve. So it would encourage quicker building skills, keeps players on the move, and makes the porta fort more useful. And that's a very interesting one because obviously the storm is always on the move. You haven't got enough time to harvest resources and stay in one place because you're always on the move. You're always contesting other players. You're always in the fire. In the line of fire of other players. So having a porta fort will actually be a really cool way to give you a quick little base, to give yourself, a little bit of cover. Because obviously at the start of the game when the storm's moving in, it's not that big of a deal. The storm's massive, pretty much the entire map is available to you. So that would be the prime time to harvest resources, metal, wood, brick, everything that you possibly can. Because with the storm moving about, you're going to have to build walls for cover. You're going to have to build ramps to get the high ground on people. You're going to have to be constantly moving. So adding in the porta fort will be a really cool way to give yourself a really good bit of cover in those later parts of the game and potentially give you the edge on other people. So I think this is a really cool idea, and I think this is an amazing concept because it would make people better at the game. That is what I think it would do, because now in the current state of the game, in the current build, like the normal battle royale, solos, duos, and squads, you do get those people that just play and they sit in a corner or they hide in a bush and they don't do anything. It's like, how can you have fun playing the game that way? I know you might want to get a win, but you shouldn't be aiming just to get a win by camping in a corner. You're never going to get better doing that. The only way you're going to get better is by building and fighting other people and getting kills and getting killed, in order to improve your playstyle. With this game mode, with this hurricane mode, where the storm moves in and the Eye of the Storm moves around the map, it will keep people on their toes. It will make them think about new strategies. They'll constantly be building. They'll constantly be trying to get the upper hand on other people, and they won't be camping. So I think it would improve players' ability, to play the game. That's just my opinion on it. So that is the new Hurricane Mode concept from Fortnite Insider. Now, moving on to another concept, which actually, this one's really cool. It's basically a change to Loot Lake. It's a couple of changes to Loot Lake. As you guys know, Loot Lake is pretty much in, you know, sort of the centre of the map. It's just above Tilted. It's a very, very, you know, populated area, you know, around that quadrant of the map, because you have Tilted nearby. It's sort of in the centre of where everything is. There's a few bits of loot, but not too much. And people like to camp around there and catch people out in the water. I think it's just a very popular location. So, because of that, a couple of people have taken the liberty of creating a concept for Loot Lake, which would make it more desirable to drop. You know, it would make the point of interest better. And I'll put this image on screen right now so you can see it. And it's basically a tunnel system leading from the middle house in Loot Lake up to the docks, down to the factory, and down to that, you know, that waterfall area, as you can see down the bottom half of the picture. So, it also says the tunnels will be accessible through the house. Like, you'll break through the bottom of the house, and there'll be tunnels accessible from the waterfall and from the factory and from the docks and everything and from Loot Lake. And you'll be able to go into these mine shafts, find loot, and, you know, and there'll be more reason to drop there because there'll be more places to explore and there'll be more places for loot to be. So that is a very cool change. And someone also pointed out that in the late game, it could also be very boring if the circle ends up at Loot Lake, because people could camp in the tunnels, they could hide there, and it would be very boring because you wouldn't be able to find them unless you scoured every inch of the tunnel. So that could also be another thing. People could just be camping there, and it wouldn't be very fun because people aren't moving. But I think it's a really cool concept. So Loot Lake is a very cool and interesting place. It's the only place on the map with a big body of water in it. Obviously, you have little places with puddles like Moisty Mire and all this other stuff. But in terms of water, and in terms of like a lake and everything, Loot Lake is only a place with water in it. So, in terms of like a big body of it. So, I think, you know, it's a very unique and interesting place. And I think that, you know, changes like this should be implemented to make it a more desirable location to drop. But then the argument could be made that it's already popular because it's so close to Tilted. And making this area more popular would only increase the amount of people that drop in that area, which means the amount of people that drop into Tilted, and people don't really like loads of people dropping into Tilted because loads of people get killed early on, and it makes the game shorter. So there's argument for both sides, but I think it should be implemented because, you know, they're going to have to improve the game and improve the map at some point. So doing stuff like this would be a good way to keep the game fresh and to keep the points of interest on the map very, you know, varied and unique and whatever. So that's the first one of Loot Lake. The next one I think, you know, should be implemented alongside this tunnel is more islands on Loot Lake. I'll put the image on screen right now so you can see. And as you can see, there is a lot of new islands there. There's about 1, 2, 3, 4 new islands I can see there, possibly 5, 4 or 5 new islands in Loot Lake. Now, Loot Lake, if you go into it, it's like being in Moisty Mire. If you go into the water, you can't move very fast, so adding more of these islands would be a good way to kind of separate the body of water for you to get a bit of ground, for you to get a bit of breathing room and set up a base. It would also, you know, offer more structures to be built on there, offer more loot spawns like chests and, you know, and world drops like launch pads and slurp juices and, you know, and such. So doing this would be an amazing way to increase the popularity of this area. But as I said, it is close to Tilted. It's dangerously close to Tilted. So it's a little bit of a risk in terms of like making this area more populated with more loot, because everyone will be going there because it'll be such a popular place. Tilted's a popular place. Everyone will just be crowded around that hot spot of the map, and, you know, all the other places won't be as populated. Now, it is a pretty cool idea. I wish it was implemented in some fashion, because any changes to the map, any updates made to the map, I am all for, because obviously they need to keep things interesting and new, because if they kept the map the same, you know, it would eventually get boring and people would like kind of lose interest. But adding new things like this just throws more spanners into the works and makes people think on their feet about new strategies, new hiding spots that people could take, you know, and potentially new fights in endgame. Because if, you know, if this landing, you know, if this area was in the last spot in the circle in a game and there was like 4 or 5 islands, people would be building bridges across to each other, sniping each other from different islands. I think it would be a very cool fight. Now, I wish they would do this you know, with other places in the map to kind of balance out the amount of people that drop in Tilted, because a lot of people drop in Tilted, but not enough people drop in the other areas. So I wish they would make some changes like this to other areas to make the bus spread more even throughout the map. But that's just my 2 cents on the topic. If you guys have any opinions on this, please be sure to let me know in the comments down below. And that is it from me. If you guys enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like on it. If you're new here, then subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all the new amazing Fortnite content coming your way. And as you saw at the start of this video, me, Mikey ATF, and NitroLukeDX have a Fortnite V-Bucks giveaway going on right now. Click the top link in the description down below. Follow the easy steps on the page to enter, and we'll be announcing a winner at the end of this month. So with that, my name has been Sleakozzy. You guys have been amazing, and I will see each and every one of you in my next video. Goodbye, guys.